Hey everyone, it's me again, Nijman, and here I am bringing you another deck profile. Well, technically another because it's the same deck, but I've updated it a bit. So, I just want to get up to date with you guys. Now, this is going to be Darkrai Yveltal Zoroark again, but with some changes. Now, first off, we start off with 3 copies of Darkrai EX with 180 HP, 2 attacks, Dark Pulse and Dark Head. The one we're going to be focusing on, Dark Pulse. For a double colorless, is 20 damage, plus 20 for each dark energy you have in play. It may not seem good at first, but you can really get the damage up here and really start hurting. It builds up fast. Put those right there. Next up, 2 copies of Yveltal EX. Yveltal EX has 2 attacks, which both are really good. It has Evil Ball for a dark and a colorless, does 20 damage, plus 20 for each energy attached to both active Pokemon. That could get crazy. I once had a game where I had 3 double colorless, a darkness energy, and like 6 fire energies on Flareon EX. I was doing so much damage. And the second attack is Y Cyclone for 90. And you may choose an energy attached to this Pokemon, attached to one of your benched Pokemon. So, if you want to get something that's on Yveltal EX that's about to die, and get on something else, like a double colorless to a Zoroark, or Zora, depending on what stage it is, you can do that. Next up, we have 1 copy of Hoopa EX. The only things Hoopa is going to be used for is for the Scoundrel Ring ability. Basically, you get 3 EX Pokemon, except Hoopa EX. Now, these are the only EX Pokemon in here, but I'll explain why I run Hoopa in here, because it may not seem good at first, like you only have 5 EXs, why run Hoopa? Not much variety, but there's a reason. Next up, we have 2 copies of the Baby Yveltal, the one with Oblivion Wing. That's the one attack you're going to be using. For a Darkness Energy, does 30, and attach a Darkness Energy from your discard pile onto one of your benched Pokemon. So basically, if you have the energy in the discard pile, you can get it right back. And with this deck, you don't really want energy in the discard pile, so that works amazing. Next up is 2 copies of Zora. I run both, but it really doesn't matter which one you use. The Moonlight Madness one's probably better because it can buy you a turn if you're stuck in the active. Now, basically, nothing too special here, so we're just going to go on to what is special. 2 copies of Zoroark with the stand-in ability. It's basically Keldeo EX's Russian, where you switch it with the active. So, switch in, Russian Retreat, no, not Russian, stand-in, bring disgrace, with a Float Stone, but it also has a really good attack, Mind Jack, does 10 damage, plus 30 for each of your opponent's benched Pokemon. It can hit really hard. Against Greninja, it's really good, especially with this next card that's coming up. 1 copy of Zoroark Break. I originally had 2 in here, but I found that 1 of works better. Now it has the attack for 1 colorless. Oh, not 1 colorless. 1 darkness. Foul Play. You can copy the attack of any of your opponent's active Pokemon. It may not seem good at first, and a lot of people underrate Zoroark Break, but it's really good. It's one of the best breaks ever because there's a lot of good stuff you can copy. I was able to take a game against a Mega Mewtwo Wild deck using only Zoroark Break and Foul Playing for Psychic Affinity. It was amazing. And you can also, like I said with Greninja, copy Shadow Stitching. In case you can't get Hex out, you can Shadow Stitch and shut out their abilities because it copies all effects as well. Now next up is a bit of an oddball for what you guys would think. 2 copies of Remoraid. Nothing special, but I prefer the Ion Pool one in case it gets stuck in the active. You're at least able to discard your opponent's stadium. But if you're having to do that, there's probably no hope for you. What we're really focusing on is 2 copies of Octillery. I know what you're thinking. What? Octillery? This isn't even a water deck. Why not Shaman? Well, 1, Shaman is an overpriced abomination, but in all seriousness, I found Octillery works wonderful in my deck. Now, it has the ability Bissell Hand, which, once per turn, you may draw cards until you have 5 in your hand. And a lot of people say you can't really get your hand size down, unlike Greninja, which you constantly discarding energy. But with this deck, you're able to get your hand size down down to really small proportions fast because you're always attaching dark energy using your items and tools. It's so easy to get your hand size down. I find Artillery works better than Shaman in this deck, believe it or not. I tested it. Artillery been doing me better than Shaman when I had the proxy, so yeah, it's really amazing. Next up, we have 3 copies of Professor Sycamore. Really basic and standard. Discard your hand, draw 7 cards. Nothing really to talk about there. Everyone knows Sycamore, know how good he is, the best draw support in the game. Next up, we have 3 copies of N. N, shuffle your hand, and both players shuffle their hand to their deck, and draw cards equal to the amount of prize cards. Really good, especially late game if you're behind in prizes. And even if you have like only 1 prize, Artillery's there to save you. So if you have some valuable stuff that's not doing you any good, but will do you good in the long hold, you can just N, and if you have only like 1 or 2 prizes, Artillery will get you more cards. See, more ways Artillery is better than Shaman. And I'm just going to go over these 1-up supporters in one go. 1 copy of Hex, 1 copy of Fisherman, 1 copy of Lysander. Lysander, extremely basic, get off one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Fisherman, get 4 of any basic energy cards from your discard pile into your hand. So in case a lot of energy does get in there, more than the Oblivion Wing Yveltal can take, you could always just get it back with Fisherman. Oh crap, the camera's getting low on battery. Okay, I might have to speed this up. 1 copy of Hex, shut off abilities, which may not sound good because of that Zoroark there and the Artillery, but as long as it's the last card you play, it'll be good. Next up is 4 copies of VS Seeker. Now these have got dropped down in price so much, it's amazing because of the Kelly vs. Rayquaza boxes. And they're about $5, even less than now, so it's amazing. Basically, get support out of your discard pile and put it into your hand. Really good. Next up, we have 4 copies of Max Elixir. This is why we run Hoopa, Max Elixir. So, in case you don't have any Pokemon on your bench, you just have like a Darkrai or Yveltal in the active, you can Ultra Ball to get Hoopa, to get some of these guys, and just start Max Elixiring them, increase the damage after Dark Pulse and Evil Ball. That's why I run Hoopa, in case I can't get anything else and I just want a big bench. Next up, we have 4 copies of Ultra Ball. Discard 2 cards from your hand and get a Pokemon out of your deck. Another basic standard one. Mainly you're going to get a Hoopa, Zoroark. Basically just not your other EXs other than Hoopa. So I guess you can get pretty much everything out with Ultra Ball. That's why we ran as a 4 of. Next up, 3 copies of Trainer's Mail. I originally had 4 in here, but 3 works. Basically, look at the top 4 decks, top 4 cards of your deck, and get out a trainer card other than Trainer's Mail. Meaning that you can get anything like Max Elixir, or a Supporter, an Ultra Ball, VS Seeker, just whatever you need that you can get. Next up, 2 copies of Fighting Fury Belt. Basically, the basic Pokemon this is attached to gets 40 plus HP and does 10 more damage. So, that 40 HP will really do in the long run, and the 10 damage too, because there's a way to get up to 20 damage if it has a Fighting Fury Belt attached. Next up, 2 copies of Floatstone. Now I know what you're thinking. This is going on Hoopa, isn't it? Nope, gonna go on Zoroark. So in case you do get Lysander, you just stand in and retreat. So yep. Next up we have 2 copies of Reverse Valley. Basically, this side is the one you're gonna focus on. Basically, as long as that side, all your dark Pokemon do 10 more damage, and all your attacking Pokemon are dark types. So with the Fighting Fury Belt attached, it's like there's another dark energy out in the field. Next up, into energy, we have 4 double colorless energy. Literally every attacking Pokemon in this can use this double colorless energy except the baby Yveltal. Basically, and this increases the damage of Evil Ball by 40. So yeah. Last up, we have 9 copies of Darkness Energy. Increase the damage of Dark Pulse attached to your Pokemon. It's extremely simple, and honestly, it's just perfect this way, in my opinion. So yeah, that's my Yveltal Zoroark deck. Well, Darkrai Yveltal Zoroark. So I'll see you guys later, and there's going to be more videos today, so look forward to that. Goodbye.